Hello, I'm the one and only Havoc, and today I'm talking about video games again. Gonna be having kind of a rambly video today. I've got two topics I want to talk about, and the first one is gonna be the recent. Well, I'm gonna start with the good and then go to the bad. The recent controversy, with quotation marks around it, because I don't think it should be a controversy, about Overwatch. There was a pose, which I will put up on the screen, that was it was a pose of Tracer, the character, standing backwards with her back and everything showing, and she was kind of looking back over her shoulder. Now, you may be thinking, that's not that big of a deal. Why would that be controversial? Well, if you're thinking that, you're normal. Some people had a huge problem with this because they thought it was a sexy ass-showing pose, and they were like, well, Tracer's all fun and funny and entertaining, and she wouldn't be just flaunting her ass like that. Never mind the fact that someone can be fun and funny and also have some semblance of sexuality to them, but, you know, I do see the point that Tracer's never acted that way before, so it would be a little weird for her to suddenly become kind of a more sexual character. Anyway, someone posted this huge rambly post on the forums, on the Overwatch forums, and it got changed. Like, they removed the pose. They said, you know, you're right, that doesn't really fit her character, we'll change the pose. Which I'm fine with. Blizzard, if they want to change the game, it's their game. They can do whatever the fuck they want with it, and if they'd said, no, we're not going to change the pose, well, what would that person have had to say? Nothing. It's their game. They can do whatever the fuck they want with it. The aftermath of this was insanely funny for me to watch, because it was a mixture of SJWs, possibly just normal people who agreed with them changing it, freaking out and saying, yeah, this is great, and then everyone who disagreed getting completely pissed and freaking out for no real reason. It's just a pose. Whether they change it or not is not that big of a deal. But I'm going to present one thing on this. I understand now the pose has been changed, and we have the changed pose, and it's glorious. It is. I'm going to put both of these up on the screen so you guys can see them if you haven't heard about this yet. But the pose they changed it to is basically a pinup model pose where it still shows her ass just as well. It's almost in the exact same position that everyone was complaining about, but now she's showing off her personality. And I would like to put forth two things. First of all, this pose is amazing and a great compromise between both points. Second thing, I think that Blizzard did this for PR purposes, meaning I don't think they changed it because of the posts. Now, I'll get into this. It is my strong belief that the pose was a placeholder. I'm not sure where I heard that. I'm gonna go look it up right now. I'm gonna go see if there's other poses similar to that. Alright guys, I am back from that. Sorry, I didn't actually go check that out beforehand, but after finding a video that showed me all the poses, and I'll link to the video so that I can get some credit and you guys might be able to make your own decisions, I found 6 people who I think also have poses that are similar to this, or that need to be mentioned. Hanzo and Genji both had poses that I thought were also filler poses. Genji has one where he's literally just standing there holding up his shurikens, and it doesn't have much of a personality at all. And with all of these characters I'm going to list off, the list being Hanzo, Genji, Junkrat, McCree, Soldier 87 or 57, or I don't know the number after it, but Soldier, and Widowmaker, all of them have poses that the same criticisms can be leveled at them, where they don't really show much personality. And I would put forth that those are probably placeholders. They may be changed later. And I think the idea that the over-the-shoulder was sexual came from Widowmaker, because Widowmaker's epic pose is over the shoulder. So I think that's where the person who made the post got that idea that it was a sexualized pose, which I think is really dumb, but, you know, I can see how you would get that idea. The two I want to draw attention to aside from Widowmaker is McCree and Soldier, because they have poses that are identical to the over-the-shoulder pose, and I just want to say, I feel pretty marginalized that these problematic poses are not being changed right this second. Those men's asses are in clear view, and it needs to be changed right now. I'm fucking triggered. I'm sorry, I can't. Anyway, but that's basically my point on it. To sum up, I think it's great that they changed it, and the new pose is really cool. I like that it's kind of based on a pinup model, and Tracer kind of has a little bit of an old style to her while being futuristic, which I think is cool. So, like 50s or, I think 50s? Yeah, 50s pinup model would be what it was, and it looks really good. While also not censoring her ass, because it'd be pretty ridiculous to censor her ass. Everyone has an ass. Get used to it. Stop being so Puritan. Anyway, and then these other characters who I think may have changes in the future. They may not. I might be wrong, but that's my take on it, is I think that it was always a filler pose, and they were always going to change it. And Blizzard just said, hey, if we can tell them we're going to change it because of this, it could generate some publicity. Could be a thing. A bit of a conspiracy theory, a little bit tinfoil hat-ish, but, you know, whatever. These are just my thoughts. I'm just taking them down. The other thing I want to talk about, and it's related to this because it's also Blizzard-related, they sent a cease and desist to Nostalrius. For those of you who don't know, Nostalrius is was a vanilla private server that was just about to release the Encourage patch. It was probably the best vanilla WoW server ever made. I played on it up to about level 40 until I got super frustrated because I kept getting camped by Alliance because of the zone I was in, and I could not get out, so I just kind of rage quit, especially since I played for about 50 hours at that point, and I was a bit done. I was still having fun, but like, I was enjoying vanilla, because vanilla, it had this difference to it, and I'm mentioning this because it'll be relevant later. It felt like a world. You had to walk everywhere, you didn't have flying maps, there were people everywhere leveling. Just the fact that I was getting ganked in a level 40 area, that would never happen in modern day World of Warcraft. I found it so fascinating to go and experience that again, because I never got to play vanilla WoW. I started playing on my friend's account during BC for a little bit, and I didn't get past level 20, I think. It might have actually been Wrath of the Lich King, because I know leveling was a lot easier than vanilla in BC when I played, I think. Anyway, they, a bit rambly there, sorry I got off topic, but Nostalrius has been shut down, and they're not going to try to fight this at all, because there's no Nostalrius guys. They want to do the right thing, and they don't want to impede Blizzard at all. But they have started up a petition, which I will link in the description. The petition is to try and get Blizzard to finally release a legacy server. And the background that I'm using for this, that it'll probably be a bit boring, is RuneScape, the background game, because RuneScape recently did something kind of similar. RuneScape, they released old school RuneScape within the last couple of years, I think, maybe last year, where it's 2006 RuneScape, but they're updating it. They're giving it new stuff. And I think this is a pretty good example of the same thing that WoW has. I think there's a decent number of people. The Nostalrius guys said they had 100,000 accounts registered, which is insane for a private server. Most of them don't get up above 1,000 or 2,000. That's really good numbers. If they released a legacy server, I think there's a decent number of people that would try it, that might resub to the game to go play it. Just based off those numbers. They don't really care about that if they're over 1 million, but if they get down below that, and maybe even more than that, they just need to maybe look at why people want to play vanilla so much. I never experienced vanilla, and I was playing on the server to see what it was like, and I really enjoyed it. And not everyone is going to be like me, obviously, but there were a lot of people who were playing on it for nostalgic purposes, but there were also a lot of big guilds. And I have to say, I don't think there would be that many people willing to invest it's like 5 hours minimum to do a raid in vanilla raiding, because it's that difficult and takes that long. 5 hours per raiding session for nostalgia? No. That does not compute. That doesn't make any fucking sense. No one would put that much effort into playing a game for nostalgia. It would have run out by about the 10-hour mark, at least. I'd say at most, actually. There's something else to this. There's something else in the older expansions of WoW that keeps people going to them. There's hundreds of thousands of players who go and play on private servers who think that WoW has lost something. And I think the big thing is that the world doesn't feel big anymore. I've been playing Black Desert recently, and you get dropped into that world, and there's so much detail and so much going on in it, and you have to walk across the whole thing. So it feels like a living, breathing world. And I think that's precisely what WoW has lost, and that's what vanilla gives you. It feels like you're part of this huge thing, whereas now it doesn't feel that way. It's just a huge difference, I think. And it's a very subtle difference, but it's a very, very big deal, I think, for the game as far as what it actually is. And I think also the time commitment kind of helps people stay subscribed, because you get the sunk cost fallacy, where you spent 40 hours raiding, which is something that people did, which I think is nuts. I wanted to take part in some vanilla raiding on, like, Nostalrius, but I just could not get there because it was too much time sunk in, even though I was enjoying myself. But there are some people who love that, who love the fact that they sunk in that much time, and then it keeps them playing, because they've already got so much dedicated to it. And nowadays, you can get in Mythic in WoW takes a lot of dedication, but to clear a raid now, it doesn't take much time at all. You can go do it in LFR in a half an hour, especially now that everyone's OP as shit when we're waiting for Legion. And honestly, it feels like there's not really even a reason to subscribe to WoW anymore. I know this is a long rant on WoW when really I probably should just be focusing on the main issue, but it doesn't feel like there's a reason to sub anymore. Why would you sub at the beginning of an expansion when you can wait till the end, go play for a month, play through all the stuff, and only pay $15? Because of LFR and stuff like that, there's no real reason, aside from maybe you enjoy playing month to month, or day to day, week to week, however much you play WoW, to stay subbed. Anyway, I think WoW is aging, and everyone has seen this, and honestly, I think if WoW is going to start shutting down private servers again, which they may keep doing, I really think they should invest in a legacy server. I think they should do it. Because I think, obviously, the problem would be, is it worthy business-wise? If it is, I think they should definitely do it. But the only way they're going to know if it is worth it is if they try it. RuneScape had a similar thing where they lost a lot of subs. A lot of people playing the game. Well, you don't have to sub to RuneScape. But they released Evolution of Combat and New RuneScape, and all the people who'd been playing for years, hated it. So they released Old School RuneScape and brought back... Now I think Old School RuneScape has more players than the new stuff, which I think proves the point that sometimes with a game, going backwards can be the right idea. And now they're actually moving forward. They've released a whole bunch of new stuff. The reason I'm playing RuneScape is because Deadman mode is interesting to me. I still haven't tried it since they released it, so I'm trying it out. And they've been updating it. Honestly, you could do that for old WoW. You could add in some patches if you wanted to. There's nothing that stops them from doing this, so I think maybe they should try it. I mean, if they start to lose subscribers and it messes up the game, you can always remove it. I don't understand why people are so scared in their games of removing stuff that seems to have broken the game, that seems to have changed it to something that it shouldn't have been. Honestly, I think LFR should be taken out of the game completely. It changes the game in a way that I don't think is good. And I think there's a lot of people who agree with me on that. I think there's a lot of stuff that's been added in the name of convenience that should be taken out. But that's just my opinion on it. I think I'll leave it here for now. Thank you guys so much for watching. Like, comment, and subscribe. Gotta remind you to do that. And I will see you all in my next video.